Welcome to Glam TV, your front row seat to the most compelling stories from the world of music, fame, and legacy. In today's exposé, we uncover the rise and fall of one of the most flamboyant and controversial figures in the culinary world. This is the story of Nusret, better known as Salt Bae, and how his glittering steakhouse empire came crashing down. The meteoric rise of Salt Bae. Nusret began his career in humble circumstances. Born in 1983 in Erzurum, Turkey, to a family of Kurdish miners, he left school at an early age due to financial constraints and worked as a butcher's apprentice in Istanbul. What he lacked in formal education, he made up for in relentless work ethic and ambition. Over time, he traveled the world, Argentina, the United States, learning everything he could about meat preparation and restaurant management. In 2010, he opened his first Nusret steakhouse in Istanbul. The brand expanded across Turkey, building a loyal following for its high-quality meats and energetic dining experience. But everything changed in 2017 when a video of him theatrically sprinkling salt on a steak, with a signature flourish of the hand, went viral. The internet dubbed him Salt Bae, and overnight, Nusret became an international sensation. Celebrities, athletes, and influencers flocked to his restaurants for a taste of the food and the experience. His flamboyant tableside steak carvings, designer suits, sunglasses, and diamond watches turned every meal into a performance. He was no longer just a chef, he was a brand. By 2020, Nusret had gone global. From Dubai to Miami, London to New York, his steakhouse chain exploded across luxury dining districts. Dishes wrapped in edible gold, decadent cocktails, and jaw-dropping prices became his trademarks. With Instagram and TikTok as his stage, Salt Bae cultivated a larger-than-life persona that attracted millions. But behind the glitz and glamour, trouble was brewing. The turning point, signs of trouble. The first major red flag came in the form of customer backlash. The internet, which once crowned Salt Bae a culinary king, began to turn on him. The food, some diners claimed, didn't match the hype. Review sites were flooded with complaints about overpriced meals, underwhelming quality, and a vibe that leaned more toward spectacle than substance. A 2022 viral tweet featured a receipt from the London Nusret location, showing a bill that totaled over $6,000, including $1,300 for a gold-covered tomahawk steak. The backlash was swift. Customers accused Salt Bae of exploiting his fame to charge astronomical prices for average food. Reviewers described the experience as Instagram bait and more style than steak. But it wasn't just about overpriced meals. Whispers of deeper problems started circulating. The legal web tightens. The tipping point came when legal issues began stacking up against Salt Bae. A storm of lawsuits, labor violations, and health code concerns painted a picture of a crumbling empire held together by social media bravado. Tip theft allegations. In Miami, 24 former employees filed a class-action lawsuit accusing Salt Bae of tip theft. They claimed the restaurant withheld gratuities meant for waitstaff and distributed them unfairly. If proven, this would constitute a serious violation of U.S. labor laws and possibly land him behind bars. Tax evasion and financial scrutiny. Reports soon surfaced of financial discrepancies in his U.S. and European operations. Allegations of income concealment and suspicious accounting triggered investigations by tax authorities in multiple countries. Prosecutors alleged that Gaki was manipulating books and underreporting profits. If convicted of tax fraud, he could face fines of up to $500,000 and a 5-year prison sentence. Food safety violations. Things worsened when the Boston branch of Nusret was shut down in 2023. City health inspectors found repeated food safety violations, including unsafe meat storage, cross-contamination, and improper hygiene practices. The closure, while temporary at first, became permanent due to overwhelming violations and operational concerns. This wasn't an isolated case. Complaints about hygiene and food quality surfaced in other cities too, including Las Vegas, Beverly Hills, and London. Consumer fraud accusations. Perhaps most damaging were allegations of consumer fraud. Customers reported being charged for items they hadn't ordered, including so-called gold upgrades that were allegedly added without consent. In one infamous case, New York diner Dwayne Miranda claimed he was charged over $1,000 for a steak he never ordered, and when he refused to pay, Salt Bae allegedly called the police. Public backlash and brand implosion. As the legal walls closed in, Salt Bae's once adoring public turned hostile. Social media, which had once made him, now mocked him. Memes ridiculed his pricing. Commenters called him greedy and out of touch. He tried to spin the narrative, insisting his food was still the best in the world, but the charm had worn off. Polls showed that more than 80% of respondents no longer viewed the Salt Bae brand as authentic or appealing. Restaurant critics who once tolerated his theatrics now labeled his cuisine mediocre at best. The once packed steak palaces began seeing empty tables. One by one, his restaurants shut down. Las Vegas, London, Boston, and even his flagship Beverly Hills location. Each closure sent another tremor through the crumbling empire. Celebrity ties, a double-edged sword. At the peak of his fame, Salt Bae was supported by a glittering array of celebrities. Footballers like Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo, artists like Drake and DJ Khaled, and entrepreneurs like Andrew Tate all posed with him on social media. But some of these associations would later come back to haunt him. Andrew Tate, in particular, praised Salt Bae extensively online, calling him one of the last real men and a brother. But as Tate faced serious criminal charges, the association cast a shadow over Salt Bae's credibility. Sean "Diddy" Combs, another prominent supporter, was recently entangled in high-profile legal issues. The connection between these controversial figures and Salt Bae began to damage his brand, reinforcing the idea that his empire was built more on flash than integrity. In a humiliating 2023 moment, Salt Bae was denied access to the Champions League Finals Inner Circle, an event he once breezed through. Video of the incident went viral, symbolizing his fall from grace. Desperate moves. A shift to Latin America and the Middle East. In an attempt to dodge U.S. investigations and salvage his brand, Salt Bae has reportedly started shifting his business focus to Latin America and the Middle East. New restaurant locations are being proposed in Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and Colombia. These regions, where consumer protections and labor laws are often less stringent, may offer him temporary reprieve. But watchdogs and food safety agencies in the U.S. and Europe are not letting go easily. The American Food Safety Department continues to monitor Salt Bae's activities and could potentially block future operations or partnerships. Moreover, international law enforcement collaboration around food safety, labor, and tax enforcement means he might not be able to hide forever. Lessons from the fall. Salt Bae's story is a masterclass in how quickly fame and fortune can disappear. He built his empire on virality, charisma, and spectacle, but neglected the foundation: consistency, integrity, and transparency. His downfall underscores a critical lesson for celebrity entrepreneurs. Public image alone isn't enough. If the product doesn't hold up, if workers aren't treated fairly, if rules are bent or broken, sooner or later, it all comes crashing down. Salt Bae's story also reflects a deeper truth about our times. Social media fame can elevate you, but it can't protect you. The same platforms that crowned him now serve as the stage for his humiliation. What's next for Salt Bae? It's possible Nusret could reinvent himself again. He's charismatic, visually distinctive, and still commands millions of followers. But rebuilding trust will be an uphill battle. Legal challenges, brand damage, and mounting public distrust have turned his empire into a cautionary tale. If he wants a second act, it will take more than flashy steaks and viral videos. It will take accountability. Thanks for watching Glam Radar TV, where we bring you the real stories behind the fame. If you found this expose insightful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. What do you think about Salt Bae's rise and fall? Let us know in the comments. Until next time, stay sharp and stay curious.